sponsored by Opera Air. This is the Samsung Galaxy S25 Edge, and it's just 5.5 millimeters thick. That's thinner than the iPhone 16, thinner than the Galaxy S25. It's even thinner than a pencil. But here's the twist. This phone isn't thin just for the sake of it. It's packing the same 200 megapixel sensor from the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, 12 gigabytes of RAM, a Snapdragon 8 Elite chip, and a glass and titanium build. So the real question becomes, how did Samsung manage to cram full flagship power into something that basically disappears in your pocket? Today we're taking a first look at what might be Samsung's most focused premium phone. What trade-offs are we looking at? Who's this actually for? And does it live up to its higher price tag? Let's get into it, starting with the design. You pick it up and the first thing you notice, it feels like it's barely there. I legitimately started smiling when I held it for the first time. At just 5.85 millimeters thick and weighing 163 grams, the S25 Edge is nearly identical to the base S25 in weight, but offers a distinctly different feel. It's thinner than any current flagship and only slightly thicker than the Moto Z2 Play from 2017, except this one's not a throwback, nor does it require snapping accessories onto the back to make it actually useful. Samsung went with a titanium frame, same as the Ultra, and covered the display in Gorilla Glass Ceramic 2. That's a new type of glass with embedded ceramic crystals for better crack deflection, kind of like Apple's Ceramic Shield. The back is Gorilla Glass Victus 2. In hand, it's sturdy but elegant, thin without feeling fragile. You can get the Samsung Galaxy S25 Edge in one of three colors. They've got titanium jet black, which has a blacked out titanium frame. There's titanium silver and titanium icy blue, which is the one I personally like the most. To protect all this, Samsung's also launching ultra thin official cases. And I was actually curious about this since most people do use cases on their phone. And to me, I was just thinking, what's the point of buying a thin phone if your case is just gonna bulk it up anyway? So I was able to check out two of the cases that Samsung's gonna offer. One with a leather-like finish with a soft feel, and the other a minimalistic clear plastic. Both add grip without spoiling the thin profile. It's the first Samsung phone in years that genuinely feels like it was designed to disappear into your pocket and still impress you when you take it out. Now, of course, this is just my initial hands-on after spending about an hour and a half with the device. I will have a full review of the S25 Edge dropping soon, so be sure you're subscribed for that. All right, next, let's talk about this display. The S25 Edge uses the same 6.7-inch UHD Plus AMOLED display as found in the Galaxy S25 Plus. You get 120 Hz refresh, deep blacks, rich colors, and excellent sharpness, no compromises on visual quality. Now, there's no anti-reflective coating like you'd find on the Ultra, and that's intentional. Samsung's keeping that reserved for their top tier model. Still, unless you're in direct sunlight, reflections aren't gonna be a huge issue. Now, for watching content, scrolling, gaming, it's the kind of display Samsung's famous for. It's clean, fast, and fits the whole minimalist, high-end theme of the phone perfectly. And speaking of minimalist design done right, I wanna give a big shout out to Opera Air for sponsoring this video. Real talk, browsers aren't something we usually get excited about, right? But Opera Air is different. It's a browser built not just for speed or productivity, but for your peace of mind. The sleek, minimalist design is intentionally distraction-free, helping you lock into your workflow and actually stay there. Opera Air's mindfulness tools seriously level up your productivity. It prompts quick mindful breaks exactly when you need them, guided by its smart body battery indicator. This includes guided meditations, gentle neck stretches, and breathing exercises, leaving me refreshed, calmer, and ready to dive right back into my workflow. Now, for me, the boost feature is my personal favorite. There's lo-fi music and binaural beats to enhance relaxation, creativity, and focus, so when I hit play, instantly I'm deep in my editing zone. Check out Opera Air at the link in the description and start browsing mindfully. Trust me, it's worth it. Once again, big thank you to Opera Air for sponsoring this video. All right, next let's talk performance. Powering the S25 Edge is the Snapdragon 8 Elite for Galaxy. That's Samsung's custom-tuned version of Qualcomm's top-tier chip. Paired with 12 gigs of RAM, it flies through tasks. Now, how do I know that if I've only had limited time with the device? Well, it's the same setups you'll find in the S25 Ultra. Whether you're bouncing between heavy apps, editing photos, or gaming, the Edge will hold its own. But it's not just about raw power. Samsung has also embedded its entire Galaxy AI suite into the device, and much of that is running on device thanks to the chip's massive NPU boost. Now, for more on Galaxy AI, check out my video on that here to learn more about it. But one of the most important upgrades is going to be battery efficiency. That same agentic AI constantly tunes how the phone is using power, doing things like adjusting refresh rate, background activity, and thermal output in real time, and more on that in a bit. Okay, next let's talk about the camera system. Samsung brought its top tier 200 200 megapixel camera to the S25 Edge. The exact same sensor you'll find on the Ultra. This means you're getting top tier image quality, but with a bit of a twist. This phone only has 2 rear cameras. So you get the 200 megapixel main sensor and a 12 megapixel ultra wide. That's it. No dedicated telephoto, no 10x periscope, no space zoom. Instead of lens versatility, Samsung's betting on AI and that massive sensor to do the work. For example, zooming is handled with in-sensor cropping. You can shoot in 12 megapixel, 50 megapixel, or the full 200 megapixels, depending on the shot. I think most people will live in the 50 megapixel binned mode, which gives you incredible detail with solid low light performance. And to be clear, this is definitely not the most versatile camera setup Samsung offers. And in fact, some might say it's the worst out of the entire S25 line, but that's the compromise that comes with making a phone this thin. Okay, back to battery. You'd expect a phone that is this thin to struggle with battery life, and I expect that to be the case when I start testing. You see, the S25 Edge has a 3900 milliamp hour battery, which is pretty modest on paper, but thanks to that Snapdragon 8 Elite chip and Samsung's agentic AI, which is doing real-time optimization, Samsung says the results will be solid. In their internal testing, the battery life outlasts the base S24 and lands just behind the base S25. So again, better battery life than the Galaxy S24, but not as good as the Galaxy S25. But that should mean all-day battery life in a device that's under 6 millimeters thick. When it comes to charging, you're getting 25 watts wired and 15 watts wireless. In practical terms, that means you're getting over 50% charge with 30 minutes plugged in. All right, let's talk price. The Galaxy S25 Edge lands at $1,099.99. That's $100 more than the S25 Plus and $200 less than the Ultra, and that's a deliberate move. Samsung is aiming this phone at users who want power and polish without the bulk or need for an S Pen. It's also for those fashion-forward users who genuinely care about the look and feel of their phone. Those who see their phone as an accessory. It's not trying to be the do-everything phone. It's trying to be the right phone for a specific user. So if you don't need the Ultra's zoom or S Pen, and if you're the person who does see their phone as an extension of their personality, this is quietly one of the most refined smartphones Samsung has ever made. So here's what you're getting with the Galaxy S25 Edge. The same core hardware as Samsung's best phones, Snapdragon 8 Elite, 12 gigs of RAM, 200 megapixel camera, Galaxy AI, but in an amazingly thin ultralight package. It doesn't fold, it doesn't have an S Pen, and it's not the most versatile phone Samsung makes. That title still goes to either the Ultra or the Galaxy Fold 6, but it is arguably the most refined. It focuses on the experience, how a phone feels in your hand, slips into a pocket, or disappears into a purse. And then it delivers power and quality that no other phone this thin can touch. So if you're someone who values design, portability, and still want top tier performance, the S25 Edge might be the one that clicks for you. You can pre-order starting on May 12th, and they'll start shipping on the 27th with the official on sale date on May 30th. And again, I'll have a review coming soon, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching as always, guys. I appreciate your support. I'm Andru Edwards, and I will catch you in the next video.